Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you days 5, 6, 7, and 8 of the Artist Trading Card a Day June monthly challenge. This is making an ATC each day all through the month of June 2019, and this is offered by the art community Art Joy of Sharing on Facebook. If you'd like to join in with this challenge, or if you'd like to join the group, the link is in the description box below the video. Just make sure that you answer the questions when they come up. When you ask to join, answer the questions or you will not be accepted. So for day 5, I have some gel printed backgrounds that I made when I was gel printing the other day, and these are made with a ATC mix-up stencil. This one was designed by Carol Weeb, and it's from Stencil Girl, and there's 9 different ATC designs on the stencil, and I gel printed the whole sheet and then cut them into size. So this background that I'm starting with is one of those from a session that I had the other day. I don't think I even filmed it. I was just messing around with some stuff. So I am doing some collage on this. I have some little baskets and boxes around my desk and on my desk for little scraps that I tear off from something else and I still think they are interesting or valuable, and so I save them. And then I just throw them in that little bin, and you saw the tiny little oval-shaped bin that I had. And I just pulled out a few pieces that I thought would match this background and be interesting, and I am just gluing them on. This is just simply collage of pieces that I think match and go together and make a nice composition. The main focal image is a stamp. Actually a stamp from, like that you mail with, not a rubber stamp. I know that would be confusing, but this one was sent to me on a package recently from the Netherlands, I believe, and it's for another collaboration that I'm doing, and I received a package and had a couple cute stamps on it, so I just tore them off the box and I save those type of things. I have a plastic box with stamps in it, but these two just made it into the scrap box because I hadn't made it all the way to the stamp box. You know, all these things around don't get organized very well all the time. So I have some other pieces, little punched or die cut pieces, just little scraps of paper that have been torn off. That one right there with the flowers on it is the type of paper that you fold into origami, and it was a light green with some kind of orangey goldy colored flowers on it. I thought it matched, and that's just how I do this. I could do this type of thing all day. I could make thousands of ATCs with all the scraps that I have around my desk so easily. I could do this all day long, just glue things to things that match and make little compositions. It's so fun. It's just something I really enjoy. But of course, I only need to make one each day, and I'm going to have so many ATCs, I'm going to be mailing them out to everyone because that's what I do. I just kind of share them. They're little pieces of art that you can share with other people that are easy to mail. They're tiny. They can be used as bookmarks. They can be put in those ATC, well, artist trading card. ATC means artist trading card. You know, for baseball cards and for Yu-Gi-Oh cards and for Pokemon cards, that's what size this is. So there's some little plastic sleeves that you can purchase and put in a 3-ring binder that you can slide them in and save them. So if someone sends you one, that's a great way to save it. Or you could use them as pieces on your art journal pages, or even pieces on your art that you're going to hang on the wall, collage pieces. So once I was finished gluing all my pieces on, then I used a dark sepia India ink brush pen from, this is a pit pen from Faber-Castell. I went around some of the pieces and blended them with a little bit of water to make them stand out a little bit more. And then I decided I wanted to play and experiment with some embossing powder. I have a big container of clear, ultra thick embossing powder, and there's all those colors of mosaic embossing powders out there. And what I like to do is to color them myself. So I just have this big bottle of clear, and I can color it either with ink pad re-inker or with some alcohol ink. In this case, I put some butterscotch colored alcohol ink in it. I think I got it a little bit too yellow. I put too many drops in there, but I stirred it around. It'll, it'll stick to the plastic, but then it'll evaporate all the alcohol out of it, and it makes something that looks kind of like encaustic wax. And it adds texture and shine, and I thought it was interesting. And I needed something for it to stick to, so I started with some Tombow Mono adhesive and put that on, and then I decided I could just do it with a glue stick. Maybe a little bit less precise application. Of course, normally you would use something like a watermarking pad or something, or an embossing pad or something like that. But glue works too. So just needed something for the powder to stick to. So then I made another color using the Stream colored alcohol ink, which is a kind of a teal turquoise color. And I didn't have anything to store this in, but I have since then purchased a bead organizer with screw tops containers to put all my different colors as I blend them, because of course you don't use them all up. So when I make some more of these embossing colors, I will just put them in that. So that was pretty much the end of this day 5 experiment. I had a lot of fun. It's got a lot of texture and shine and interest to it. So there you have it. There's your close-up. And Beautifully Imperfect was exactly what it was. So for day 6, I have this little tiny, very cheap canvas board that I did an acrylic pour on when I was in South Carolina at the art retreat. And I have 2 of them, and I put them in my box and mailed them back, and they stuck to each other. Plus, the board was so cheap that it warped. So it really wasn't usable the way it was. So I tore it apart. I took the poured canvas off of it, and then I trimmed down a piece of the backing and made it into an ATC size, and then I cut some of the canvas and glued it on there. It's thick because it was a canvas board, so this would be like, a frameable type of a board. So in order to cover the edges, rather than folding everything over like you would a canvas board, I just sponge painted copper around the edges. And now I have a pretty cool acrylic pour background on a little ATC sized card. So then I have these stamps that were sent to me in Happy Mail, and I decided to use them because the colors of the pour are copper and teal and purple, and just colors that I think are pretty Southwestern colors that I see a lot every day. And so I decided to try out my little stamps from different succulents onto just some mixed media paper. It was actually another ATC size mixed media paper that was already cut, but I just figured I could make my things out of that. So I stamped it in archival ink, and then I'm using some markers. These are, again, the Faber-Castell Pit Pen markers, which are an India ink inside of a marker. So that means that once they're dry, they're permanent. And a little bit more archival, and they're not as prone to fading as regular alcohol markers are. I didn't realize that alcohol markers would fade so much, but I've certainly found that they do. They fade quite a bit. So this is something that's going to be more long lasting in a marker, and I have a set that has a lot of colors. I don't even know, maybe 40 colors, maybe 36 or something. I don't know. Anyway, it has enough colors that I can do some interesting 2-tone and 3-tone coloring on my little succulents. They have a brush tip, and I tend to use them a lot to do shading and things like that, but they're also great for coloring. So once I had colored up my pieces, I cut them out. I'm not going to make you watch me cut these things out. You'd probably lose your patience if I did that. So I cut a couple of them out. Then I needed to color the other ones and finish them up. Trying to do different colors of greens because cactus aren't all the same color. Some of them tend to be an olive green. Some of them tend to be more of a tealy, turquoisey green, a lot more blue tone in it. And then there are even some that are purple or pink. So it just depends on the plant. It's not all one plant. There's a huge amount of diversity in succulent plants that live in the desert. Lots and lots of different options. But people who don't live here or visit here don't realize that. I think all we have are those ones that look like a pitchfork shape. There's so many choices of desert plants, tons and tons. So then I glued these down using some actually some gloss medium because I didn't want to dull down the color of that shiny foiling that's in there. There's a little bit of foil that was inside of the pour, the acrylic pour. Got everything glued down, including the little word hola, which means hello in Spanish or hi. I do have backers for all my ATCs in case I want to send them to someone, so I print them on my computer and cut them out to put on the backs so I can send these to someone and they'll know who it's from. Has all my information on it. So that is day 6, I think. Yes. Day 7 I did during the Art Joy of Sharing live stream show on the 6th. The live stream show was on the 6th, but I had already made an ATC for that day, so I made my day 7 during day 6. That's okay if you make them ahead of time. That's fine as long as you end up with one a day. You're still meeting the challenge. So we were doing gel printing on ATCs on that show, and I'll put a link up in the iCard so that you can go watch the live stream recorded version if you want to see all the different gel printing that we did for all kinds of ATC backgrounds. And you'll be seeing these coming up in the upcoming month because I'll, of course, be using them because I now have a lot of backgrounds. And we're going to do ATC techniques all through the month on Art Joy of Sharing live stream show. But what I did was I made a rainbow using my pan pastels on my 3x4 gel plate, and then I picked that up on ATC sized pieces using some white paint over the top to pick it up, and I got 3 different backgrounds out of that. I probably won't use all 3 of them this month, but I have some options for some rainbow ATC backgrounds in the future. The third one I ended up picking up with some silver paint just to show that it kind of gives you a metallic look. I don't know if you can really see it. Then I just took the brightest one and I cut a heart shape out of it. So now I have a heart-shaped rainbow. And I ran around the edges using my black Posca pen so that it wouldn't have ugly white edges. Then I got a black cardstock ATC out that was, the size of an ATC made out of black cardstock. And I took some Posca pens and I splattered. The Posca pens, if you flick them, some of the ink will come out. It's acrylic paint. It will come out and splatter for you. And I love splatters. So I used all the colors of the rainbow and splattered them on that black cardstock. And Posca pens are opaque. Even the yellow. Yellow is hard to get an opaque color, but even the yellow is opaque and will show up on black. So I have now a rainbow splattered background. Then I used some foam squares, and I did color the edges of the foam squares with the black Posca pen so that they don't, when you look on the side, it doesn't look like a bunch of white on the inside of it. They're colored black. Then I put the heart on the ATC background, and now I have a rainbow heart that's textured. It's popped up from the background. Then I went around the edges of the black card with white, and I'd also splattered some white onto the rainbow shape just for fun because I liked it. And I wrote the words love is love. And it bothered me that it was not centered properly. So I ended up taking a little scrap from the piece that had, the extra corner, and making another little tiny purplish bluish heart, gluing it on there, and then putting some glitter on that heart and the other two hearts and some dots of glitter in the background. And that is my ATC for day 7, Pride Month. So that was my Pride ATC. Day 8. I was going to play with Ken Oliver, the powdered pigments, or some of the brushos or something like that. I thought it would be fun with this watercolor paper ATC to do some of that. And then when I opened it, I found these, which I'd forgotten I even had, which are Pixie powder. It is a powdered pigment, but it's shimmery. And these were sent to me by my friend in England. I've never seen these in the United States, not saying that they aren't sold here, but they are super shimmery. And I know it's a video and it's hard to tell. Well, you can kind of tell on that one. But I decided to first try to spray the water on the card and then sprinkle on it and see how that looked. And then I decided to sprinkle the other colors on dry and then spray it afterwards, just to see the difference that I would get experimenting with these really cool, awesome pigment powders. Super neat. I really like them. And, people send me things and I'm always like in the middle of something, I'm always busy doing something, and sometimes I don't get to it immediately. So it's not that I don't appreciate it. I do. I really do. I'm very appreciative. It's just that I might not get to it instantaneously because I've got this whole, everything's all pre-planned out in advance. So for this day, I decided to use the greens and bronze and coppery colored one. And I had a couple little pieces of shrink plastic. At one point, I was making some inchies for the Jeannie B. Aaron's design team, and my first idea to make the inchies was to make them out of shrink plastic. I ended up not using them, as it was a swap. It was an inchie swap. I ended up making some cardstock ones instead, which you've seen, and if I remember, I'll put the video in the iCard if you haven't seen it already, using Gina's stamps and doing that. But I still have these plastic pieces. Now what do I do with them? Well, they matched great and made a really interesting and textural piece on this little ATC. So I put a couple of them on, glued them on, and then I found this die cut piece, which was sent to me from another friend in Happy Mail. She sent me a lot of die cut pieces, and the box that I have them in is near my desk, and so therefore I see them. I was looking for something to put on here, and it just happened to be olive colored. It was actually striped paper, and I ended up using some Bria Reese glitter ink to just kind of color it and make the white stripes not so white. And then I also used a pen that the same person who sent me the Pixie powders also sent me, which is like a Wink of Stella pen, but it's made by Spectrum Noir. It has some shimmery clear ink in it, and that really shimmered up those pieces between the glitter ink and that. So then I glued this to a piece of coppery cardstock, metallic cardstock, and then I put a little Tim Holtz sticker on there that says happiness, and put some dimensional clear adhesive, the Mod Podge brand, what's it called, Dimensional Magic or something like that. I also use that to glue down the plastic pieces because it'll work better than something else, and it dries clear. Really happy with this one. It's shimmery and sparkly, and I enjoyed it a lot. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment or question. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share. And of course, if this is your last video, just before you turn this one off, click onto something that has 1 million subscribers and then turn that one off instead. Thanks, everyone, for watching. That's it for me. Bye-bye.